These are the Jakarta tales. These are very, very, very old Indian stories. Today, I'm going to read you the first of these stories. The story is called The Clever Grain Dealer. Once there was a wandering grain dealer in Varanasi. He had a very clever son who went about selling his goods in faraway lands. There was also another such dealer in that town who was a blockhead. Once the two grain dealers prepared to leave at the same time. They collected different sellable items and loaded it on their bullock carts. Before leaving, the clever grain dealer thought, I should not go with him. Traveling with so many carts at once will definitely cause problems. There will be no fodder for the animals. I would better let him leave first. On the other hand, the other dealer was not so far-sighted. He at once agreed to go ahead. He was secretly happy. He said to himself, my animals will have full supply of fodder. A clear track will make my journey easier. Besides, as I reach there first, I will be able to sell my goods at very high prices. The clever grain dealer, who had decided to go later, had different thoughts. He thought it would be better for him if he goes later. He thought, if I travel after him, my animals will get less exhausted. They will go over a ready-made track and therefore will take less time to reach there. We will have water from the wells. They will have been dug. Finally, it will be much easier to sell our goods. We could easily sell it at the price fixed by the other group. Their way passed through a stretch of desert. The foolish grain dealer showed some wisdom and took large pitchers of water with him. But he overlooked other potential dangers in the desert. He was aware of the threats from the bandits and the wild animals only. His caravan moved on, and soon they were in the desert, where an unforeseen trouble awaited him. The desert was inhabited by certain man-eating giants. When the giants saw the bull-pulled carts approaching in the caravan, they planned to eat them all. They realized that if they could get rid of the pitchers of water, it would be much easier to strike them. They disguised as men, as regular men, and they approached them in bull-pulled carts. They appeared drenched, soaked by rain, and they also put some mud on the wheels of their carts to impress the foolish merchants that there was water on the way. So as the two caravans came across, the foolish grain dealer and his man looked in surprise. They were tormented by the hot desert winds. Their carts could hardly move through the sands. The giant's leader spoke to the grain dealer. He said, "It is raining heavily over there. That place has green forest and deep ponds with lotus blooming in them. clear water flows down the hills. Why should you carry all these pitchers of water with you? Throw them so you can move much easier. The foolish grain dealer was easily duped by the giants. He spilled the water and broke the pitchers before moving ahead. And when they felt thirsty, there was no water for them. They stopped for the night. They unbridled the animals, tied them to the wheels, and prepared to go to sleep. But they were tormented by thirst. They had nothing to eat either. And shortly, they were overtaken by the giants, who killed and ate them up at once. And their remains lay scattered over the desert. Thus, the foolishness of the grain dealer led to the mass destruction of his whole caravan. 2 weeks later, the clever grain dealer also set out with his 500 bullock carts. As he approached the desert, he loaded enough water on his carts. He assembled his men and told them, "Water is most precious in the desert. Therefore, you should never take any water without asking me first. Also, do not pick a fruit from alongside the road. Traveling through a desert is very tedious, so you must stay courageous." As his caravan passed through the desert, the man-eaters saw them. They were glad, and they decided to eat them too. So like before, they came in their earlier disguise. But this grain dealer was clever. He recognized the giants at once. He said to himself, "This desert has no water. That's why it is named Nirjala Kantara, which means dry desert. And their eyes are red. They cast no shadows. They must be man-eating giants. They probably tricked the other merchants going before me into spilling the water, and then they ate them all. But he cannot fool me." The clever grain dealer called the giant's leader and said, "We merchants would not spill the water we have before we have found another source of water. We will only throw away our water when that other source is right here in front of us." The giants were frustrated. They traveled a little bit and then they disappeared in thin air. When they were gone, the clever grain dealer's man said, "Sir, those men said there were green patches ahead. It is raining heavily over there. Their clothes were drenched. There must be water ahead. We must empty our pitchers. It will lighten the carts and make our going easier." The clever grain dealer ordered the caravan to stop and called all the men. He asked them, "Has any one of you ever heard that it rains heavily in this desert? Have you ever heard about the existence of a pond or a well here?" "No, sir. We have only heard that the land is called a dry desert." Some of them said, "There are green patches ahead and it rains there. Now tell me, how far a rain wind can be felt?" "From about 6 miles, sir." "Does any one of you feel a cool breeze?" "No, sir." "How far can anyone see the rain clouds?" 6 miles, sir." "Does any one of you see dark clouds?" "No, sir." How far away can you see lightning? Oh, up to 20 miles, sir. Does any one of you see a lightning flash? No, sir. How far away can you hear a thunder? About 10 miles, sir. Did any one of you hear a thunder? No, sir. Then listen to me. They were not men. They were giants. They wanted us to throw away our water and die of thirst. They are man-eaters. They must have planned to make us too weak to resist so that they could eat us. It seems that these giants tricked the caravan before us into spilling their water, and then they ate them all. Therefore, you should not spill even a handful of water. We should just drive on. And as the caravan, led by the clever grain dealer, moved ahead, they came across the 500 carts loaded with the goods. The remains of the foolish merchants, his man, and the bulls, all scattered all over. The clever merchant's man was stunned, was shocked by the sight. Their leader decided to halt there for the night. The animals were unbridled and the tents were pitched. They ate a sumptuous dinner and retired for the night. The following morning, they unloaded their carts at a nearby town and sold their goods at profitable prices. Finally, they returned home, fully satisfied and happy. So the moral of this story is that some wise men speak the truth, while there are others who are telling a lie. Knowing this, wise man should receive what is true. Thank you.